Good evening, everyone. My respect and greetings to Her Excellency here, and I'm honored to be able to meet you as well. It's truly an honor and delight to be here today. I must say it was almost like a last-minute thing for me to come over, and when I was asked to speak as well, I said, well, I'll try not to speak in my normal way and go for hours, so I'll be brief. See, personally, my association with Nepal has been over 20 years now, and been working for CQ University, or as many of you would know, Central Queensland University. It's now over 25 years. I've seen Nepal as a country sending international students to Australia, growing and going from strength to strength. There was a time, about 15 years ago, where senior people from the visa department at that time used to comment about expecting not more than a few thousand students a year from Nepal. And today, Nepalese are one of the highly respected and trusted students in Australia, and currently are rated as the second biggest community of international students in Australia. So that is a result of great work of all of you here. And it needs to continue and go from strength to strength. But before I talk about what we as providers and you as consultants can do together, let me just go a little bit on how Australia is different. See, today there was a mention about the ESOS event which took place here about a month ago. I hope you all have attended that event. But as a person working in an Australian institute for over 25 years, I've had the honor even to be the ESOS manager in the university, going as back as 2000. See, ESOS Act makes Australia very unique when it comes to international students. It's the only country where there is a federal law which in a way governs the educational institutions on how they deal with students. It is there to protect the international student in every possible way. From the smallest first step that, for example, we as a university, we develop a new degree. We cannot even promote it to the market till it's been officially approved by the education body in Australia, who make sure that it meets all the requirements. So at every step, whether the way we market a program, whether the way we make an offer letter, everything has to be approved under the ESOS Act. Everything. There used to be a joke in the university, and still a few people say it: if you don't do it right, under the ESOS Act, Vice Chancellor will go to jail. That's how strictly it has been all the way through. And at the same time, it protects the students in many, many ways. Well, majority of the universities in Australia are public universities. And obviously there are, apart from universities, you've got the wet sector providers, you've got the private colleges. ESOS Act governs every. So if tomorrow, if God forbid, there's a problem in some college or university and they can't offer the program to a student, under the ESOS Act, the student is still covered. They will not lose their fees, they will not lose their time. That's all covered in there. So, and I've actually seen this put into action, where hundreds and hundreds of students were refunded their tuition fees through the ESOS Act back to their home country. So that is the beauty and the strength of ESOS Act, to protect international students. In my knowledge, there is no country in the world which has such a regulation to protect international students. So that's excellent. Even during COVID times, the way, yes, we know every education institution went out of its way to look after international students. Australian government went to the extent to make sure that international students who were working part-time and lost their jobs due to COVID, they were helped financially by the Australian government. Not as a loan, but money given out to them because they lost their jobs due to COVID. So that's the extent. Every education institution did its own bit, whether it was help the students with their food facilities or any other facility for rental, but even the Australian government did its part. And as soon as they were able to open, now this is an important point, We as an education institution, you as our recruitment partners were all desperate and keen for the borders to open. We know, obviously, other countries, whether it's UK, US, Canada, they all opened earlier. But the Australian government was very particular. We'll open when we feel we are safe enough to open. So that not just Australians, but everybody coming from outside is safe. So when they opened, they said, okay, the international students who are here, let's give them some extra benefit. That is why they extended the work rights to them. And now, as we can all see, the market is very, very busy right now. The Australian High Commission now is working not just 5 days a week. They are working practically full time, 7 days a week to help with currently what's going on in terms of huge demand, which we are all waiting for. But they are the ones who are trying to process things as fast as possible. So that's from an Australian government or Australian point of view. But where does that place us, you guys, education institutions? We now have a huge opportunity to come out of those 2.5 years of huge uncertainty. Huge. We have a huge opportunity now, but that comes with huge responsibilities. Today, well, there was a lot of data shown by Mahesh and the other people here. Yes, the market is booming, but there is a responsibility to make sure we are doing everything possible. One, to recruit the right kind of students. When you say right kind, what does it mean? People going with the right motives, and most importantly, with the right expectations. I always say we have to remember, students' families are investing their life savings, often mortgaging their home to send their students overseas. So that's a great responsibility on all of us. You as the first step, counseling the students, we as educational representatives, to make sure that we are also doing everything possible to screen the students correctly. I won't go into too much detail, but I'll just say, I say it in a joking way, but we have to make sure that students can, will, would and should study in Australia. Can, obviously based on academics, English. If academics and English are weak, it's like 2 legs of a person to walk. So can, will is the focus, right programs, look at the previous background, visa history, in the end should they be going to Australia, meaning financially. We don't want a person to land in Australia and on the very first day have a huge strained pressure on their brain that I have to earn from day one because I have to send back money home because my family will not be able to repay the loan. That's a very unfair pressure on that young person who's just landed in Australia. And unfortunately, we've all seen some of that ends in a very bad way for the student. And that's the last thing all of us want. So it's an excellent opportunity that we all have today, but that comes with a huge responsibility. I think it all starts with realistic counseling. Students to come with the right framework of mind, what to expect. They should always remember they are coming to study in the first instance. And then get local work experience as well. And focus on their studies to get the best outcome, which Australia does offer. Today, looking at the work permit rights which Australian government is offering while studying and post-study are one of the best in the world. Students, when they go into post-study work visa, work opportunities have never been better than what they are today. I deal with so many different people in Australia in different lines of work. They all are saying, a qualified person today who's ready to work can find work in practically every office they walk into. There's a huge demand for qualified people. And the reward rates are second to none. They're second to none, frankly speaking. So Australia does offer an excellent opportunity for the right student who's coming to create a better future for themselves. I'm sure you all have seen it. When a student goes to study overseas, it's not just their life that gets affected, but their immediate family and their future generations. So let's make sure we counsel them and guide them to have the best outcome possible. And we as education institutions will always work with you very closely. We need to have the right focus. That's the bottom line. So I think today On the positive note, we have a huge opportunity. Demand is huge in the country for students to go overseas. Appetite of providers to take students is huge. We just want to make sure we balance that and quality students go through, so that even from the student government point of view, education institutions, visa department, they should all stay confident and positive about the Nepalese market and be able to continue to issue visas in a positive and speedy manner. That is where everybody will benefit. So that's the message I'll leave with all of you. So congratulations on this event, and thank you very much for inviting me as well. Thank you.